This club 3 years ago launched its first session of a forum, a public opportunity for people to discuss, get together and look at issues of the moment. And the first, quite naturally, was centred on earthquakes, something which had happened down the deep south and which we in Wellington had always had a very close awareness of, a sympathy for, and an understanding of the uncertainty and the impact that earthquakes could have on our physical and cultural and community environment. The second one was last year dealt with this issues and situations about what sort of city did we want to have and what could Wellington offer and how could it be positioned and how could we all contribute to the development of a city that met that vision. This year we focus again on the future, and what we're looking at is the opportunity, as there's some indications on the table there before you, is how do we create a country, a New Zealand, the way we think it ought to be positioned. What's our vision for New Zealand? It's something a lot of people don't give a lot of thought to, but are often very quick to comment and be very critical about. There are small pockets within the community, political parties, institutes of research, etc., that spend a lot of time, a lot of focus on it. But it's an area where we don't believe within the forum committee of this club that there's been enough opportunity for everybody to have the chance to reflect, to consider, to understand and to be educated and informed a little bit about the issues and some of the things which are the driving forces making up the New Zealand that will be the New Zealand of the future. So this year's topic is going to be centred upon the process of constitutional reform and the impacts that things such as historical things such as the treaty have had on creating the country that we're now a part of. It's very interesting to reflect upon that New Zealand is the youngest country on earth to be populated. It was populated by two major migrations, one a millennium ago when the Maori came down south from the islands, and then 200 to 300 years ago when the Europeans decided to seek greater pastures in the deep south and came down here following the early explorers through Asia and the Australasian area. It's also interesting to reflect, when you take that into account, that I can probably say that New Zealand is equally able to say with a lot of pride that of all the countries which so experienced dual migrations or the blending of Indigenous people and a migrant population, that we, New Zealand, have been by far the most successful of the countries to integrate. Just reflect upon how our culture has evolved when compared to the issues of Australia, the Americas or Africa, insofar as its ability to get the integration of peoples that make up the populations of those countries. So this forum is going to be looking upon, or giving the people the opportunity to reflect upon what the vision is that they're looking for the future. What will be the impacts of the treaty? What will be the impacts of the constitutional review this government is currently proceeding with? What will be the outcomes of some of the decisions now being made insofar as iwi settlements, the discussions on MMP and the way we elect and present our political process and structure? So we're bringing together a gathering of, at this stage, somewhere between 12 and 13 very knowledgeable speakers who will be bringing a rich diversity of their backgrounds, their interests, and reflecting what we hope to be is the total diversity of discussion on the topic of New Zealand the way we'd like to think it will be. All we need now is having the appropriate group of people to come along and participate. And like the previous two forums, there will be a high degree of opportunity for there to be interaction between those who are attending there as participants, observers, and those who are formally there as the speakers presenting their views. So it won't be a classic case of sitting there for 6 hours and listening to others present their particular case. So this year, November the 12th, Tuesday, at Ridges Hotel, very close to Parliament, because we have Bill English kicking the ball off as our first key speaker. And that will be where we'll be expecting to see a vast number of this club likewise participating, not out of duty, but out of interest. So further details are clearly on the table there. We look forward to seeing you joining us at the forum in 2 months' time. Thank you for the opportunity, President.